Hi everyone, welcome to the video for the centers algs for the two-step 4x4 method. If you're not sure what this is, check the description below. This is not really a standalone video. This is part of a series regarding the two-step 4x4 method that I created. There's a link in the description to the overview video, which is where you should start if this doesn't make any sense to you. So all I'm really going to do here is go over some 2x2 or some centers algs that I used for this method. I'm not really going to go too in-depth with anything because I never really got too complex with the algs that I used. I'll provide the ones that I used most frequently, and then I'll provide a few others that I had created that I just never really got used to actually executing with. So the main algorithm that I used for corner solving in two-step was a 3-cycle. So this is one situation you'd see here. So the 3-cycle is with this center, and this center here. So you set it up where you have this center that goes up here, this center that goes down here, and this center that goes right here. There are other orientations you can do as well. You can look up 4x4 center 3-cycle algs, and you'll find a lot of them actually. There's some that go from here to here to here that do, on the opposite side here. There's a lot of different variations you can use. I primarily only used this alg here, and I'm just going to show it here. I'm not very good at like stepping through individually the algs that I use, so I'll just kind of show it here. So you push this side up here, then this one, push that down, push that down. Now I didn't actually execute it like that. The way that I executed it was with wide R moves. So I actually would do wide R, U, and then here I would actually do a 3R move, and then 2R prime, whatever you would call those. That's how I actually execute. That's what I found to be the most, or the quickest to execute and the most reliable way to perform that alg. Now, you can run into situations where you don't always have a perfect setup for that. So let me show something here like this right here. So if you have these 3 corners here, you can try to find a perfect setup for this and see if you have that or use a different alg. But in this situation, this centerpiece would move here, this centerpiece would move here, which would not solve this, but this centerpiece would move here and solve this one. So you'd be using an alg that's designed to solve 3 centers and only solving 2 centers. So it's a little bit inefficient, but it's still, it solves its purpose there. It solves 2 centers. So that's one of the things I was talking about when I say I never really got around to optimizing this, as far as finding better ways to solve cases such as that. So another case that I would solve frequently, you have the 3-cycle, and then I have this sort of two swap thing. So you have these 2 that need to swap and these 2 need to swap. There's a few different ways that you can solve this, and initially I started out using just a double T-perm effectively, which is where you just do a regular 3x3 type of a T-perm and you just do it twice, and that solves those. As I moved along, though, I actually found some various other algs that you could use for it. The one that I ended up sticking with, I'll put that in the description below, but it's the one that was the most efficient for me. So for this one, I actually am going to try to do a demonstration of the execution that I use, because the algorithm itself does not really look very good. The efficiency in the algorithm comes with the execution. So the alg starts, you set the centers you want to swap on the right face here, and then you start with a U and a D. And the first efficiency there is that I would do those at the same time. I would do the U move with my pointer finger here, and the D move with my ring finger, if I can get that on camera here. I would do them at the same time, just like that. Then you have an R2, and then a U prime, D prime. This is the big one here. This is where I would do these at the same time with the same hand. So I would pull the U prime here, and I would push, if I can get this on camera, I would push the D prime with my ring finger right there. So I do those 2 at the same time, the same hand. And that's where the big efficiency comes from. And then it's R prime, and then you just do that again. So UD, R2, U prime, D prime, R prime. And then that's solved those centers there. And again, my executions are not really that great right now because, as I said, I haven't been solving with these. But once you get that down, it can be fairly quick to execute. Like that. So those are really the only main algs that I actually used while solving. So a few other algs that I wanted to mention. I never really got around to the point where I was using these effectively. This first one I'm going to show you, I don't really see any case where this actually could be useful, but I'm going to show it anyway because I have it. It's M prime, so these two middle letters, M prime, U prime, and then you just do it 8 times. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what that does is that does a 2 swap on the top face, the front face, the bottom face, and the back face. I don't see any way that's really ever useful, but it's fairly quick to execute once you get used to it, and it does a lot. So if you can find a case to use that with, use it, and that would cut down a lot on your solve times. Another one that I really got around to using or finding a case where it was really efficient to use was M prime, U prime, M, U, and that's how I would execute that. And you can actually get pretty decent at running that execution through. And what that does is that moves the centers on the top face clockwise and the centers on the front face counterclockwise. So again, never really got around to using that in an actual solve, but that's a pretty cool alg nonetheless. Another alg that I had created was M prime U2 M U2, and repeat that 3 times. And that is a 4 swap, or I guess a 2 set swap on the top face and the front face. That's the one that I could see the most use coming from. I just never got comfortable enough with it to actually start using it in solve. So that's one that I actually could see being useful. So MU2 or M prime U2, MU2, just like that. And that's basically it for centers. As I said, I feel like there's a lot of optimizations that still could be researched there. I just never really got around to putting in the time to do it, and I just stuck with those 2 concepts that I had with the 3 cycle and the 2 swaps. So set up the best cases you can. You're not always going to have situations where you have a perfect case. So sometimes you have to set up something like this where you have 2 that need to be swapped, and you don't have anything you can put in here, so you just put in 2 of the same color, and it swaps those, but it doesn't scramble anything. So sometimes you're in situations like that, which is where there's a lot of efficiencies that could come from. I just never got around to actually doing it. So that should be it for this whole video series. It's actually kind of surreal for me. This is actually probably the last time I'm going to do any videos or any talking about this method, to be completely honest. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, but I don't promise that I'll be able to answer everything, because I just don't know everything about the method. I just never got around to actually completing it, which is why I'm releasing this. Hopefully someone's able to use it and enjoy it. I still enjoy solving with the method. I just feel like it could be a lot faster than where I actually got it to. I still personally believe that it's possible to solve with this method. If it's completed and you get used to it and you're a better cuber than I am, I still think you can get down close to 30-second solves. At least sub 45 seconds. I think you could do even close to a 30-second solve with it. I'm just not able to do it. I'm not that caliber of a cuber, and I haven't gotten far enough with the method itself. So again, any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.